prayers and support to succeed.
And the Northern governors have called on the Tortive-elect, Professor James Ayase, to work towards unifying the people of the region. The governors made a call during a solidarity visit to the monarch at his Makurdi residence. The delegation was made up of the governors of Borno, Bauchi, and Kano states.
We're wishing you a long life and prosperity. I hear, sir, to cement that bond of friendship, that bond of fraternity, because we are all united by our common heritage of poverty, of insecurity, of destitution, of illiteracy, of backwardness.
I'm happy for this honor that the Excellencies have come to visit and rejoice with the Tiv Nation over the appointment of a new paramount leader.
And to ensure effective operation of the Delta Safe mandate, which includes prevention of crude oil theft, as well as militancy, the commander of the operation, Rear Admiral Apoche Suleiman, has expressed the readiness of the Joint Task Force to curtail any criminality within the Niger Delta region. Rear Admiral Suleiman stated this at the Ikang border post in Bakassi local government area of Cross River State, shortly after embarking on exercise safety check within the Niger Delta creeks.
What we've done so far, what we've seen so far is that our men are ready and are prepared for any eventuality. We are sure of enforcing the mandate that have been given to us. So far, you can agree with me that there's a relative peace within our joint operation area, and I think that is what I think we have achieved within this period.
And Bauchi State says it is emulating President Buhari's leadership quality, especially in the fight against corruption, for the overall development of the state. This is evident in what the APC-led administration in the state has accomplished so far.
What I have done when I came in is to plug the loopholes for wastages and to stamp out graft in the running of affairs of government. And through that, we have released quite a lot. In the past, when people come out to revamp education, what they do is to renovate schools. They do not give attention to the teachers, who are key.
And farmers in most parts of northern states in Nigeria have gone back to the farm for the dry season farming. And this is following a good output recorded during the 2016 wet season farming activities. The farmers in high spirits say they are encouraged by the high demand and supply of food items and government policy on all year-round food production.
The state government in the last season decided to uptake all the surpluses of wheat running into millions of naira from our farmers, part of which is now being used as seed for the current season.
And the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says it has seized substances suspected to be Indian hemp worth over 7.5 million naira in Kogi State. The NDLEA commander in the state, Mohammed Bello Idris, stated this in Lokoja while reviewing the activities of the agency in the last 1 year.
Our best efforts on certain occasions were crowned with successes due to the cooperation and assistance of our sister agencies in the area of suspect transfer, intelligence sharing, and raid operations.
And the Change Begins With Me initiative of the federal government may have begun to bear fruits outside Nigeria, as members of the Canadian Association of Nigerian Physicians and Dentists, CANPAD, have set in motion a chain of actions to stop the cliche, government should do it alone. Joy Osiago examines the new strategy adopted by CANPAD members from the lens of Dr. Tito Daudu and the lessons for similar organizations in other parts of the world.
As a resident, I thought, what are the kind of things that I can help or impact with the way that they're doing training, specifically surgical training in Nigeria.
It seems in Nigeria people believe that government has to provide hospital, government has to provide schools, but there are private institutions and churches and mosques that are rich enough to build 50 to 100 bed hospitals that can be fully equipped to what Nigerians call world-class standard. What we'd like to do is to have some degree of longitudinal involvement, not just to go for 1 week and come back, but obviously that will involve provision of maybe spaces for doctors to work. We're not coming to Nigeria to come and ask for money.
And that ends the early morning news. And back to Good Morning Nigeria. Cliff and I will be back after the break.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Appreciating the resilience of the Nigerian Armed Forces, join the Minister of Defense, service chiefs and other stakeholders in the defense sector as we pray for the Nigerian Armed Force veterans of various world and internal conflicts. Venue, National Christian Center, Abuja. Date, Sunday, 8 January 2017. Time, 12 noon. And National Mosque, Friday, 13 January 2017. Time, 1 p.m. The welfare of the troops, the veterans and the families of our fallen heroes is the responsibility of all. Be a part of the national appreciation of the resilience of the armed forces, our veterans and the families of the fallen heroes. The efficacy of prayer is not to be underestimated. Join other Nigerians as we pray for Nigeria, our troops, our veterans, our fallen heroes, and those they left behind. Join us. Announcer, Brigadier General Rabi Abubakar for National Planning Committee.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. So let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogerula. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
Indeed, change begins with you and I. And of course, from there we look at what is trending in the business world, and Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, releases details of awards of its 2017 oil term contract to 39 companies. Let's join Amina Nojem for details of these stories and more on the business package.
Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has awarded its 2017 crude oil term contract to 39 companies. NNPC, in a statement, reveals the contracts covering about 1.31 million barrels per day of crude oil were awarded to 18 Nigerian companies, 11 international trading houses, 5 foreign refineries, 3 national oil companies, and 2 NNPC Group trading arms. The statement, signed by Undu Ugamadu, Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division of the NNPC, stated that the contracts worth a total of more than $72 million per day were each for 32,000 barrels per day apart from Duke Oil Limited, an NNPC Group subsidiary, which was for 90,000 barrels per day. Announcing the results, the Group General Manager, Crude Oil Marketing Division of the corporation, Mr. Meli Kiari, said the contract would run 1 year effective January 1st, 2017 for consecutive 12 cycles of crude oil allocation. The list compared with 27 companies that won contracts varying sizes for 2016. China's Sinopec and India's Indian Oil Corporation were among the winners, as were international firms including the trading arms of BP and Total and trading houses Letasco and Glencore. Absent from this year's list were trading arms of oil major ExxonMobil, Shell and Eni, trading houses Mercuria and Televeras, and refining Saras, all of whom were on the 2016 contract list. Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Mekanti Baru, said the group had received bids from 224 companies and the decision to announce the winners reflected NNPC's commitment to transparency. The Manufacturing Purchase Managers Index PMI stood at 52.0 index points in December 2016, indicating expansion in the manufacturing sector during the review period. The index had recorded decline in the preceding 11 months. The PMI released by the Central Bank of Nigeria indicate 8 of the 16 subsectors surveyed comprising cement, food, beverages and tobacco products, textile, apparel, leather, footwear, plastics, rubber products, paper products, appliances and components, chemical and pharmaceutical products and manufacturing-related products recorded expansion in the review month. The fabricated metal products subsector remained unchanged, while the remaining 7 subsectors declined. At 57.6 index point, the production level index for manufacturing sector indicated the sector expanded in the review period compared to the decline recorded in the preceding 11 months. At 47.9 index points, the supplier delivery time for manufacturing subsectors contracted in the month of December 2016 after 9 consecutive periods of expansion. Employment level index in the month of December 2016 stood at 48.6 points, indicating decline in employment level for the 22nd consecutive month. However, the index shows a slowing contraction in manufacturing employment when compared with the level in the preceding month. At 51.6 index point, the index shows an expansion in raw materials inventory in the review month after declining for 11 consecutive months. Equities continued to bleed in the Nigerian Stock Exchange to see the midweek session close in the red. The all-share index shed 0.46%. Next is a graphic summary. And that is Business News. I am Amina Nujain.
Many thanks to you, Amina Nujain, for the business package. And coming up next is, of course, the newspaper review, but that will be after the break.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Okay, sir. You may now go in for your interview.
Thank you.
My shoe. And to think I just bought this very expensive foreign shoe 2 months ago.
So sorry about your shoes. This is why I advise my friends to always patronize made in Nigeria products. See this shoe. It's made in Nigeria and I've had it for 2 years and it's still as good as the day I bought it.
Made in Nigeria products are good quality, and stringent government regulations and certification now mean the goods made in Nigeria meet international standards. Make the patriotic choice today. Buy right. Buy Made in Nigeria.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
So what's up, sweetheart? You really look like you're up to something.
I have a secret.
Okay.
I'll be going to Europe next week.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Like you have your visa, your passport, your plane ticket?
No, not that way. Some men are helping us. We pay them, they take us through the desert, and then we cross the sea into Europe.
The desert, the sea. Isn't that the route where many have died?
Yes, it is indeed a very dangerous journey. In 2016 alone, 4,900 people died while crossing the Mediterranean Sea to enter Europe. Many were Nigerians. For the very few who survived the journey, they are forced into prostitution or other crimes just to survive. Eventually, they will be arrested and deported to Nigeria. Don't be a victim. Don't go this way.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
This is Good Morning Nigeria, where we'll be looking at the leading reports in Nigerian dailies today. And we have our regular reviewer, Bayo Atoyobi. It's my pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Cliff. Good morning. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Nigeria.
Claire, let's kick off.
Let's, of course, start with the Guardian newspaper. And, of course, it has quite a number of trending stories on its front page, of course, from the economy to, of course, so many, laws and all that. But the headline reads, relief for president, governors as bill against immunity fails. Now, it comes with two riders there. Proposal dropped over late submission and hope rises for true federalism. That's the lead story on the front page of The Guardian. There are other stories there. If you see, just on the left-hand column there, despite challenges, ATM transactions for 3.5 trillion naira in, of course, 9 months. It's just written there. There are other stories trending at the bottom of the paper. Fayose accuses APC of plans to remove him, and security operatives raid Jonathan's in-laws' house in Abuja, and police arrest 100 PDP supporters in Jigawa State over rally. Now, that's the trending stories on the front page of The Guardian.
Okay, going ahead, we'll look at the authority. On the front page of the authority this morning, we have FG approves arms for airport security guards. Awards 1.1 billion naira contract for Kaduna Airport Terminal. And to spend 4.6 billion naira on modern firefighting equipment. That is the lead story there. And we also have active telecom subscribers hit 153 million. Says NCC. And we go on top of the masthead. We have promotional reports there. Presidency affirms payment of 5,000 naira stipend to poor Nigerians. The stipend of 5,000 naira, we have details of it on page 4 of the authority this morning. And we have bomb scare hits Ebonyi. Details of that report also on page 4. And we have the two leading strikers for the African crown there, Yuba Mega and Marex, battle for African crown. And moving on, we have a similar report on the Daily Trust. Federal government approves 1.1 billion naira for Kaduna Airport Terminal under the masthead of Daily Trust this morning. And we also have FIRS Customs Gate 1.2 trillion naira revenue collection course in 5 years. These are economy-related reports. Claire, what do you have?
Yes, of course. Let's get back to Bayo.
Yes, those stories are mainly fallout from the Federal Executive Council meeting. One for the 4.6 billion approved for firefighting equipment, the Minister for Interior, General Abuja Dambazo, briefed that the last equipment procured for the nation was between 1985 and 1996. And we are all aware that even just in 2016 alone, markets in Kano, Ibadan, Lagos, and I think somewhere in Calabar and Sokoto were all on fire. And so this is, I think, a positive move to try and nip all these fires in the bud. The other one also is the indication given by the Minister of State for Aviation, Senator Hadi Siriki, that a new national airline is to come on board. It will not be government, fully government-owned, but government will have 3% shares. The concern is that the airline will have the capacity to deploy aircrafts accordingly, and also it will have a seamless operation without services disruption. The idea also is to ensure that they have long-haul services that can compete along the international lines. You will recall that Nigeria used to have the Nigerian Airways. It was established in 1958 and it ceased operation in the year 2003. The other story that has been making the headlines is the report about security agencies searching the home of the former First Lady, Patient Jonathan. One paper said it is unidentified security men. Another said it is police. But the legal advisor to the First Lady, one Charles Oboli, says that an officer in uniform said they were from the special unit under the instruction of the Inspector General of Police. Another one who he said was in Mufti said they were from the Office of the Attorney General. They left with 3 checkbooks and 6 company seals in a white envelope after the search.
We have 2 reports. I don't know. One is talking about police raiding ex-First Lady Patient Jonathan's house. Another newspaper is talking about Jonathan's brother's house. Which is the true position? Or
Well,
is it two of it?
It's quite contradictory. But the relation is that it's the home of persons who are related either to the First Lady or the former president. The former First Lady or the former president. The fact of the matter now is that a home was raided and the items that were taken away have now been identified. Before, they were speculating that they were unidentified security men, but the legal advisor to the former First Lady has said that one said they were from the office of the IG Special Unit and the other said they were from the office of the Attorney General of the Federation. There is the IED that you mentioned that was discovered in Abakaliki. It was found at Uno Ezuku River. They said there's no cause for alarm. It has been identified. It has been evacuated by bomb experts, and they are analyzing it to see whether it can be live.
Oh, well, we still have other things trailing in the papers today. Maybe we'll go to the Vanguard. And on the Vanguard this morning, we'll have leading reports that are dominating national discuss. Obasanjo fires back at Awujale's book. And also we have it on Daily Trust, where we talk Obasanjo false representation in Awujale's book. With details of that report on page 4. And other stories trailing there at the bottom of Daily Trust, we have we won't be sacrificial lamb of economic recession, NLC. With details of it on page 7 of Daily Trust, we won't be sacrificial lamb of economic recession, NLC. And Army confirms arrest of Borno local government chair over Boko Haram link. Details on page 4. And we have electricity supply stabilizes at 4,000 megawatts.
All right, Cliff, the story I'm trying to get out now from the inside page of the New Telegraph, you might not be able to see it. It speaks to the issue, discussed on Good Morning Nigeria yesterday, and that's, of course, talking about the, ANCOS Boras program and how it relates to, of course, the revolution in the food production, and all that. It's CBN unveils guidelines for ANCOS Boras program. And somewhere it says, as the CBN puts it, the program thrust of the Anchors Boran program is provision of farm inputs in kind and cash for farm labor to smallholder farmers to boost production of these commodities. These are actually the subject matter for yesterday, our conversation here yesterday. And of course, it's good that this is coming up right now so that those that are supposed to be beneficiaries of the initiative would understand the guidelines. But that's about the paper I have.
I think he has to talk more on that. Maybe we have provision for fire service. You know, this dry season now, and the federal government is taking steps to strengthen what we have today as the Nigerian Fire Service.
Yes, we've already discussed that. But the other one that is also of concern is at the airport. Security men at the airport now to bear arms.
Yes.
This is to forestall any breach of security. And also talking about security, vigilance is the watchword. In Madagali local government area, there is a market, Gulak market. It was to be invaded by 3 female suicide bombers. They were stopped, they refused, and the vigilante shot at them. 2 of them had their bombs exploded, and they killed the 3rd one. The other one was disarmed. The other one is 2 human interest stories. There is a Miss Anambra beauty pageant that was organized, all right? And at the end of the day, there was no winner. Why? Yeah. The organizers were disappointed. One was asked, who is the president of Nigeria? And he said, Dr. Muhammadu Buhari. The others were asked questions and said...
After repeatedly saying president.
Others were asked questions and they said they have no idea. So that card that was meant for the winner went back without a winner.
In fact, the name of the organizer of that very pageant, because they were asked, Ifeanyi Uba, he said, who is the organizer of this pageant? Yet they had a title there they could not say.
And many of them, strangely, are supposed to be graduates.
That's the example. That's the example of change begins with me, because we must begin to implement brain and beauty. They must go together. They must go together. Okay, quickly, let me quickly take this picture story on the front page of the New Telegraph. It's beneficiaries, of course, of the 5,000 naira stipend, of the social safety net that's been implemented. It's right there. You can see, of course, the state of those beneficiaries. They are very frail. And,
yes, that is one thing that struck me. Those ones that were shown there are the aged, and actually you can see that they actually will benefit from such a gesture. The only hope is that it should go around. Like the picture is the dispensation in Kwara State.
Yes.
It should go around the whole of the state. You have such aged people across the north,
but
the central,
I think this is still the pilot stage.
Yes, the pilot is for 9 states.
Yes. No, actually, 9 states have met the World Bank criteria that was used to identify the vulnerable persons. Out of the 9, 3 states now have had the payments. So the other 6 will follow.
Okay, I think that's where we'll wrap it up on our newspaper review corner. We'd like to say special thanks to you for being here always and to look at what the newspapers are talking about. On that note, we'll be moving to the next bit. Claire.
All right, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and today we'll be looking at the rapid result initiative put in place by the Federal Ministry of Health to revitalize the healthcare sector. We'll be right back.
Certainly, Ajunwa is the Olympic champion.
We did it before and we can do it again with the new strategy through the first National Grassroots Sports Festival scheduled for Abuja, Nigeria from 22nd to 29th April 2017 to prepare Nigeria to win medals in international sporting events. NTA, the largest television network in Africa, is the broadcast partner. For sponsorship, contact the Chairman Chief Coordinator on 0809 647 0111 or Mukta on 080-330-20855. Email info@grassrootsportsfestival.com. The Grassroots Sports Festival is endorsed and in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Join us.
I was dreaming, and my grandfather can't tell me, say, he want to make me very, very rich with a number.
You leave business where you go see for ordinary eye. You go to collect number from land of the ghost.
Akwa Ibom boy make I tell you true. Na in grandfather at the given rank lumber.
So when he die, go to do 419 for that time.
This week on your award-winning comedy series, Professor John Bull, starring Kanayo Okanayo, Mercy Johnson, Queen Wokoye, Funky Malam, Ime Bishop.
Gunners for life, youth, courage, greatness.
All these shouts on even go the shouts. You have regards for this our local team. Teams like Enugu Rangers, Canopilas, Eyimba, like Ashanti Kotoko.
Professor John Bull, this Tuesday and Friday, 8:30 to 9 p.m. on NTA Network, International, and Star Times.
Over and out. Welcome to the new speed of life.
NTA Properties Investment Company Limited, a subsidiary of the Nigerian Television Authority, specializes in creating comfort in all areas of life, such as real estate investments, that is, land, houses, and office spaces, mass leasing, savings and loan scheme, household items and car loans, and so much more. Other information and entertainment services include Property in Style, a TV program that airs on the network service of the NTA, and also Property Connect, a nationwide magazine. Our priority is to bridge poverty gaps and sustain quality welfare of our clients. Partner with us and watch us help you grow. Pay us a visit today at the NTA headquarters permanent site, Area 11 Garki, Abuja, or our Lagos office at number 15 Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. For more information, visit our website on www.ntaproperties.com.ng, or you can email us on ntapic2000@yahoo.com. Call us on 080-2316-3474 or 080-6939-5185 or 070-3189-0555. NTA Properties Investment Company Limited, the much needed help at your doorstep.
All right, welcome back to the program. If you've just joined us, you're right on time for the commencement of our conversation. And just to inform you, of course, that our Twitter handle will be there for, of course, participation and your contributions. Now, let's begin with, of course, the background, which will speak to the fact that the Federal Ministry of Health recently launched the Rapid Result Initiative program, and it's tagged Better Health for All. Now, speaking prior to the launch of the initiative, that's precisely on the 30th of June last year, on this very program, I think it was here that the Minister of Health did mention that initiative. That's Professor Isaac Adewole. He explained that it is designed to produce quick and visible impact that will affect the lives of every Nigerian. Let's listen into that excerpt now.
So we plan to officially launch the RRI 7th of July this year, and that will be next week Thursday, a week from now. We'll flag it off, and Nigerians will start reaping the benefits. It will be the first practical demonstration of the commitments of this administration to help poor people, and to also demonstrate what can be done in the health sector. So it's a question of saying, we can do it. It's a question of saying, yes, this is it, and you will benefit. With respect to the PACs, what we've done so far is we've done some mapping. We've gone around, we've selected 288. Out of the 288, we've picked 109. 109 to be made functional. And we start counting. We're meeting on the 14th of this month. We're going to hand over some checks to state commissioners of health. You have this money, go and fix the PACs. Infrastructure-wise, we've identified 109 that we're starting with. We built the 110th one. I visited Fuka February this year, where we had the Lassa fever outbreak. We lost 17 people in Fuka, and on getting to the village, I discovered that what was wrong was the absence of a PAC. 17 people in a row died before anybody got to know. That will not happen. We have an effective healthcare system. So, and I gave a directive that the PAC in Fuka must be built, and it is ready now for commissioning.
We're now being joined by the Honorable Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewole, and it's indeed our pleasure to have you join us. We're talking about the Rapid Result Initiative, meant to ensure that we have quick and visible impact, launched in June 2016. Tell us something about it. How's it going?
Compliments of the season. It's a pleasure being here again with you this month. When we designed the RRI, we did it jointly with the Rapid Result Institute in US. And as I stated during my last interaction with you, This is an initiative that is high impact, designed to create some visible evidence of connection with the Nigerian people. And we plan to do 7 things, which to me is actually a practical demonstration of our intent to translate the manifesto of the APC into reality. We want to make sure that health is accessible, is affordable, and that really we make it of high quality. And so when we launched the initiative, we rested it squarely on 7 pillars. We promise to deliver 10,000 surgeries free of charge to poor people, particularly those surgeries that really cause discomfort to many Nigerians. We were looking at hydrocele, we were looking at fibroids, we were looking at cleft lip, cleft palate, we were looking at quite a broad range of common ailments, including clubfoot. And we said we'll do 10,000 of these, including 150 vesicovaginal fistula surgeries. So we committed ourselves to doing this. We also committed ourselves to rehabilitating 110 PACs. And that as we move on with the PACs, we will also ensure that we have a mutual health association around each of them. We promise to tackle malnutrition in the Northeast in addition to other health emergencies. We also promise to do cancer screening. We were quite concerned about cervical cancer, we were concerned about breast cancer, prostate cancer, and also to really promote a culture of transparency and accountability in the health ministry. That was the agenda. High impact, but not easy to implement. And what we've done over time is to reassess ourselves. And at the end of the year, when we started, some people said, oh, 10,000, that's too small. But I can tell you that since we started, we've even not gone more than 20% of the target for 2016. But what we'll do is that we'll roll it over into 2017. We will add another 10,000. So in essence, it's going to be a continuous program. And it's going to demonstrate the affection Mr. President really have for poor Nigerians, those living in rural areas. And as you know, the manifesto of the party is to say we offer relief, we offer recovery, and we offer reform to our people. And this we are going to do. So we have a list of those things that we've done, as I've mentioned, 10,150 surgeries.
That's exactly why we had invited you, because you were quoted in almost all the fora you attended. In fact, your speech became a national anthem on the social media. In 100 days, we will revitalize 100 PHCs. In 100 days, we will perform such a number of surgeries. In 100 days, we will screen such a number of Nigerians for diabetes, mellitus, for nutrition, and so on and so forth. And since this is a high-impact result-building initiative, within 100 days, you were very optimistic. So what has happened? It's
I was very optimistic. I remain optimistic. But then there are practical challenges. The first thing we did was we targeted 46 health institutions across the country. We asked them to show interest. These are federal institutions because we are quite committed to quality. And these are institutions that we have direct control over. We asked them to demonstrate interest. They did. We then said, furnish us with your account so that we can transfer 15% of the fund that we've allocated. We've allocated about 1 billion naira for this exercise, and the fund is committed.
To whom?
RRI.
Okay.
And then we said about 50% of this fund will go to PHC. We estimated that we'll spend 5 million thereabout for each PHC, and then about 35% will go to the free surgery, and then the operationalization of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, about 15%. And we said, teaching hospitals, let us have your account. Can I also inform you publicly that they hacked into some of the messages. We started receiving some fake accounts that did not tally with the accounts of the institution. That was the problem number 1 we encountered. Problem number 2 is that some institutions received the advance and they've not even started.
Didn't you anticipate some of these challenges when this strategy was conceived?
Well, since it's a pilot, even if you envisage some challenges, you will never anticipate the magnitude of a challenge. And so one of the things we discovered, and we then said, we will no longer entertain electronic information. Give us your bank detail by hand, and then we ensure that we transfer directly to the account. And we did that.
So what impacts have you made in that direction, working with these specialized institutions, health institutions? Because you talked about the primary health care centers to cover about 10,000. So look at the spread of the response, looking at the geopolitical zones of Nigeria.
The PACs, we chose one per senatorial district. We've grouped them up into clusters of 7 zones, and we've allotted them for intervention. And so we will be commissioning them in series. We will commission the one in Fuka anytime from now. We'll commission the one in Kuchingoro, which is, where I took some of the media people to, which is a model center. So in series, we'll be commissioning the PACs. In the next couple of days, we want to publish the list of those PACs so that people can identify them. We want people to visit them, and so that people will know what is happening in those places. And could also help us to monitor activities going on there. So with respect to PAC modernization, that is ongoing. As I've said, the process of identification, process of making sure that we identify what has to be done took longer than we expected. As I've said, the RRI are not easy to do objectives. They are tough, but they are high impact, and we chose them to drive ourselves. So deliberately, we chose things that are tough. It's to make us run, and it is also to enable us to deliver. With respect to the surgery, as I've said, we said we'll do 10,000 in 3 months. Some institutions have not even started, but some are doing well. I was very happy to visit Maiduguri, and I saw people who had surgery done there. I went to National Hospital, happy. In fact, I participated in one of the surgeries, vesical vaginal fistula repair at FMC Jabi. I went to visit a patient, a mother who came with a baby that had cleft lip repaired at National Hospital, quite excited. So things are really ongoing, but they are not on the same page. Some institutions have done excellently well. I have the data. I think in terms of the institutions...
Let's quickly look at the primary health care centers. Okay. Because you said, of course, you had to make certain clarification, quite a number of times that, look, we are not building or constructing new ones.
No, at all.
We are renovating, we are revitalizing the new ones. And if it's taken this length of time, to achieve, what is the scope of this renovation of the PHCs?
Well, in terms of, I'm happy you use the right words, that we are not building. Because when I make the pronouncement, the next thing the media indicated was that federal government will build 10,000 PHCs. And I started getting offers for people who want to build PHC for us. One even wrote a proposal offering to build a PHC costing about 300 million naira. And I said, this is beyond what a PHC should be. I think the really important thing is to say, for revitalization, what is really missing? What is the gap? We want them to have water. We want them to have power supply. We want them to have a clean and decent environment. We want them to have beds for delivery. We want them to have a small lab where they can do simple things like checking for anemia, where they can make a diagnosis of malaria, and be able to manage common ailments. That's what we want in the PHC. Because
so it's not just structural renovation.
No, it is not. And also, we're also building a partnership to make sure it survives. That's why it is taking a little bit of time in terms of making sure, because this will not be the first time that we rehabilitate PHC in this country. But what will be different this time is that we want to make sure they survive. What we are trying to do is to build a partnership. There is a model in Ibadan which we are trying to copy and readapt. This is actually being sponsored by the Kolada Ese Foundation. The Kolada Ese Foundation donated the building.
Not under RRI?
No, not under.
Okay.
But for Kuchingoro, which will be a model one, we brought on board the local community. The chief of Kuchingoro is very interested. We brought on board General Electric to supply simple equipment. We brought on board a local organization, Sterling Bank, to say we'll give them a seed money. and then University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, Community Development, Community Medicine Department will partner with them. And then we'll have a Ward Development Committee. They will manage the facility, including the Abuja Municipal Council. So it is this sustainability mechanism that is actually taking time. Because you can renovate in 1 month, but to make it functional takes a longer time. And that is the real issue. Because we are not saying we will renovate a PSC. We say we'll revitalize and make functional. And making them functional takes time to build confidence and trust. And that's why I decided to take the media team around the Kuchingoro PSC and to see the type of life that we have re-engineered.
Okay, you've talked a lot, about the RRI project, and you have some data that you were alluding to earlier as it affects the geopolitical zones and all that. Can you try to give us the summary of what has been done under this very project so far? Because I know too well, during the budget breakdown, you did say that the health ministry is blessed with funding, that the president is responding well.
Are you sure I said that?
Yes, I have it on tape. That this is one administration, if I may quote it, that this is one administration that has responded well to allocations, to the ministry.
I think you got it wrong. Mr. President, for 2016, Mr. President made a proposal of 35 billion in terms of capital. National Assembly reduced it to 28. We complained. But even with the 28, this administration must be credited for being responsive. That's what I said. We had a polio outbreak. Mr. President directed 100% release of the money for polio, 9.8 billion. And that's why we've done so well. WHO International Community commended Nigeria. It was the first time.
Before we digress, let's
No,
again do... No,
it took us to budget. Let's give credit to whom credit is due. And by 5 months, I did mention that Federal Ministry of Health received 60% of the capital allocation. It never happened before in the history of this country. Even at the end of the year, when things were good, the best we'll get will be 40%. So let's give credit to this administration that in spite of hardship, the release has been excellent. This administration has been businesslike and deeply committed to the Nigerian.
And that's the point I just made.
You see, that is different from the volume of money. You might have 1,000 naira and not spending it well.
Okay.
You have 100 million, you are using it well.
Okay, let's look at the RRI, the statistics, and see what has been done in that direction within the time it was launched in June and now.
That's beyond the Kuchingoro,
beyond the Kuchingoro, as I've said, we are revitalizing the laboratories. We are working at how to make sure that we have 7 labs, and as soon as they are done, work is ongoing to rehabilitate 7 laboratories across the country, including the National Reference Lab at Gadua. And as soon as this is done, we'll go in there for commissioning.
Are there locations where we have this already, ongoing?
I only know of Gadua. I know of Irua. I know of Usage. I know of Lagos. But it's the NCDC coordinator that can give us the exact location. But I'm particularly fascinated by Gadua. Gadua is a national reference lab. I've been there. It's an excellent facility and will be a pride to this nation. Okay. The one that has really attracted significant attention and success is the Sonju. But it's climbing up slowly. Nigerians are skeptics. Many people did not believe it can never happen. And so it's climbing up slowly. But what we've done is that there will be no terminal point. Okay. We wanted to do it in 46, and I think as of today, only 36 are participating. Okay. Some, about 6 collected money, they've not started. We are asking them, why did you take money and you've not started? Some have not collected money. The money is there. But what we plan to do is that we have a list. Some hospitals are doing very well, and that's what is in the data. About 4 of them are doing very well in the country. I think Calabar is one of them. Maiduguri is doing well. National Hospital is doing well. Ife is doing well. And we believe that those that are doing well are places. Those that are doing well actually circle them. On the left are those that actually they've not even started. And then on another sheet, I highlighted those that collected money and have not started. We gave them 15%. We gave them 100% for screening because we also wanted...
So, this one that is circled now in red, what does that tell us?
Those are the 4 major facilities that are doing well, including the number of surgeries they've done.
Okay.
If you look at it, those are the 4 institutions, and they're excellent facilities. Some have not started, but across the country, some are doing well. When you look at those stars, these are our stars. And what we'll do is we'll give them more money to do more cases. But I think one of the things that will come out of this interaction is that many Nigerians will hold their teaching hospitals, their FMCs accountable. They'll say, we are aware of this program. Why are you not doing it? We are aware of this program. The only qualification is that they are unemployed, they are poor, and they will enjoy the free facility.
Teaching hospitals involved in this project?
All of them are expected to be involved, and federal medical centers, all federal tertiary hospitals.
That's where I now ask you my question, because this is supposed to be a tripartite arrangement, it's supposed to be a collaborative arrangement. You have other partners. You have other partners in
like,
this. You have the foreign partners. You said to us.
No, well
you have the DFID. You have the World Bank. You have the EU.
No, that's different.
Oh, okay.
That's different. For the RRI, we partner with the Rapid Result Institute
in the US.
And we are supported in the planning stage by the World Bank.
Okay.
That's for the Rapid Result Initiative. For PAC revitalization, which is a cardinal agenda of this administration, we are supported by UK government through DFID. They are rehabilitating and working in 950 PACs. The World Bank, through the NSHIP program, is rehabilitating over 1,000 through the NSHIP program. EU is committed to do 774 in this year in 3 states, rehabilitating 774 PACs. Because we said that if this country has 10,000 functions, we're there. So 950 from DFID, 1,000 plus from World Bank, NSHIP program, 774 this year from EU. Our proposal for 2017 has 1,000.
Okay, given the experience of the last part of 2016, from June to December, what is your projection, say, between now and, say, the next 6 months? What areas do you expect to cover, and who are you getting involved, to make sure that you make a success of this very initiative?
Well, the first thing is, as an administration, we want to listen. And so we want to partner with civil society organizations and the media to monitor what is ongoing. We can't do it alone. No person can sit in Abuja and say, oh, I'm doing something in Ilesha, I'm doing something in Sokoto. You need people on ground to really work with you. So we will partner with CSO, we'll partner with the media, and then we have a monitoring group to really give us the feedback as to how well we are doing with this program. So what we do, as I've said earlier on, is apart from the initial 10,000, which we've not really gone halfway, we're rolling it over into 2017. We're adding more in 2017. We will learn from the experiences and the challenges we faced in 2016 and move on to perfect this experiment and do better in 2017.
Well, sorry, Clip. I'd just like to ask, yes, the Honourable Minister, with what is happening right now in the Northeast, the kind of devastation, the kind of health issues that have arisen, where is the place of the RRI now in 2017, with regards to what the situation there?
Well, the Northeast is actually of special interest to us and to Mr. President. Mr. President personally directed that I should go to the Northeast. And we've been there, where what we wanted to do originally was to intervene in acute malnutrition under the RRI. To say we will make sure we treat about 200,000 children with acute malnutrition. But we are scaling it up because of this task force set up by Mr. President and chaired by the Vice President. This task force has a 6-month agenda to make a huge difference in the Northeast. Each of the thematic areas is being handled by a minister. I'm handling the health and nutrition component. And as I'm speaking, drugs, nutrition supplements are moving into Borno State. By tomorrow, the advert for selection of healthcare workers that will start work next week in Borno will close. It was advertised in 3 dailies, and we are setting up 15 teams to work in Borno State. And I can assure you, give me another 2 or 3 weeks, you begin to notice difference in Borno State. With respect to health and nutrition, there is a budget for 4.3 billion for this. We are moving indirectly, putting people there. Each team will have a doctor, a pharmacist, and nurses and community health workers. But we are picking about 50% of the health team from the local area. The rest can come from other parts of the country. They are volunteers and want to work with them for 6 months to make a difference. So Borno will really record a major turnaround. And as we settle down in Borno and achieve progress, we will extend to Adamawa, to Yobe, and Gombe.
All right, Prof. Let's look at the issue of PHC, that is the primary health care centers. We know that in the days of Ransom Kuti, we had primary health care at the forefront, of Nigeria's health initiative. And we have PSCs built across the country, running into thousands.
30,000.
30,000, was built.
But only 20% of them are working now.
All right, that's exactly where I'm getting to, actually, because at a point, the states were supposed to pay counterpart funding, to drive that initiative, the issue of primary health. What is the role of the states in this very initiative?
Well, the real issue is that to make the primary health care functional, we need a partnership between federal, between state, and the local government. Federal government does not own a PSC, but we own the policy. And when it comes to health, we set the agenda. And so we are driving this agenda in partnership with the federal, with the state and local government. And we are using two things. One, direct appeal. And many states are doing well. I've been to Niger State to flag off the PHC revitalization. I commissioned one. And at the last count, Niger has done 66 PHCs. I've been to Borno to really flag off PHC revitalization. We are working closely with IMO to commence revitalization. So the states have a role to play because they are the direct custodian of healthcare services in their respective states. And that's why we cannot do it without them. We can't get things done without the states.
And to what extent are they responding to the initiative?
Well, they are responding because we have given them resources under a new initiative called Save 1 Million Life Initiative, which is essentially a 500 million loan from the World Bank, which we are giving to the states as grants. What we've done is to set up some benchmarks to say, states, we want you to show improvement in maternal health. We want you to show improvement in child health. We want you to show improvement in child nutrition. We want you to tackle mother-to-child transmission of HIV and also look at contraception and family planning and so on. Things that will improve the quality of life and tackle malaria. We then gave them a seed grant to go and make a difference. And we have a set of indicators that we are measuring. What we've done in 2016 is to say, have this and go and start. And then we want to measure progress. And we are setting the states to really compete, not against another, but even against themselves. So we will go back to Lagos State and say, Lagos State in 2016, this is what you've done. In 2017, what have you done? And the only way you can record success is to impact at the PSC level.
Okay, Honorable Minister, let me again ask you about the sustainability of the RRI in terms of funding, because you did say that, of course, this is in partnership with the U.S. and the World Bank. What kind of support did they provide?
That's at the planning stage.
At the planning stage.
Because what we did was to have 2 sets of retreats funded by World Bank to bring all of us together, including partners and so on, to say, look, what are the challenges that we face in this country? What are the tough measures that we will require to really undertake to make a difference? And in terms of sustainability, we are using 2016 as a learning curve. But I can tell you that the real issue is not even money. We offer to do 10,000 surgeries from July. We allocated about 400 million for this exercise. We've not even gone 30–40%. So it's not money. It is to really change the culture of pessimism in many of our institutions, to make them go into action, to make them deliver, and to make them recognize that there is need to do something for poor people. So we are learning. If you ask me now to talk about RRI and the free surgery, I'll tell you it's not money. It's not money. It's also to really bring you to a side to persuade Nigerians that these resources are available. Nigerians are skeptics.
So in terms of awareness, how aware are the citizens about this?
That's why this program is on. And that's why we need a partnership with the media. Let people know that this program is available. It has the endorsement of the president. He cares for all of us. If you're a poor Nigerian, no employment, no access to meaningful livelihood, please walk into a federal tertiary institution. And if you are not attended to, let us know.
Okay.
Sorry, Cliff.
Yes.
So how do they let you know? How can the people get across to you to lay their complaints? What are the media?
We want them to reach out to you. We also have a Twitter handle, Better Health Nigeria. We want them to reach out through various organs, civil society organizations, because not everybody can tweet, not everybody has access to social media, but they have access to local government, they have access to party officials, they have access to other well-meaning Nigerians. And people have really been cooperating with us in terms of getting information across to us.
Okay, we're going to take you on another issue, with regards to its impact on health tourism, but we'll get to that right after we get the input of Nigerians who have joined us in this conversation through our Twitter handle, NTAGMN. And we have here from Sani Michael Makoji saying, Nigeria has implementable health plans in almost all the successive administrations, but a major challenge over the years is lack of implementation. Any hope that this one will not fail like others?
All right, and just to take a second tweet coming from Sani Michael or Makojo, which again, is related to the ones I've asked you. And he tweets, we learned that the program is for the extremely poor Nigerians.
The poorest of the poor.
Right, the poorest of the poor.
That's where we're starting from.
How does government determine this category of Nigerians?
Well,
sorry, you get to answer.
We'll answer shortly. We have from Dele Jack Solomon saying, absolutely, the Rapid Result Initiative Revolutionary Health Program of federal government is a welcome development. Sustainability will be key.
And Fatai Adebiye, is asking for a sustainable healthcare system. He said, of course, we beg the government to give us a sustainable healthcare system.
We also have from Fatai, say our leaders are using what is most paramount to our lives to deceive us. We beg them to give a sustainable healthcare system.
That's, I just read that now. Okay.
Yes, okay.
Abdulmumini Aminu tweets, Honorable Minister, what are your plans for cancer patients? Because most people need to be informed on how to go for screening to avoid it.
And Ibrahim Tudu, I think you'll come in shortly. How does the RRI key into the implementation of the national health policy at federal, state levels? Is RRI a project of the minister?
Festus Akinboyewa tweets, Rapid Results Initiative is doomed to fail if healthcare workers are not well paid to discourage them migrating to other countries.
Well, we also have from Dele Jack Solomon, for this initiative by the Buhari-led government to translate to reality, creation of awareness and sanitation or sensitization, I believe, by its citizenry is key.
And Mike Kanyako tweets, let the program be transparent and people-oriented. The drivers of this laudable program should live up to their responsibility.
So the minister, I think you have to come in here.
Okay, there's one more tweet coming from Festus Akinboyewa. Rapid Result Initiative will get better results if federal government provides incentives to our private healthcare providers to participate in it. Now, those are the tweets that we have received so far. Our Twitter handle is there at NTAGMN. Of course, we're going to bring in, expand the scope of our conversation, but that will be after the break. Join us again.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Okay, sir. You may now go in for your interview.
Thank you. Ah, my shoe. And to think I just bought this very expensive foreign shoe 2 months ago.
So sorry about your shoes. This is why I advise my friends to always patronize made in Nigeria product. See this shoe. It's made in Nigeria and I've had it for 2 years and it's still as good as the day I bought it.
Made in Nigeria products are good quality, and stringent government regulations and certification now mean the goods made in Nigeria meet international standards. Make the patriotic choice today. Buy right. Buy Made in Nigeria.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
So what's up, sweetheart? You really look like you're up to something.
I have a secret.
Okay?
I'll be going to Europe next week.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Like you have your visa, your passport, your plane ticket?
No, not that way. Some men are helping us. We pay them, they take us through the desert, and then we cross the sea into Europe.
The desert, the sea. Isn't that the route where many have died?
Yes, it is indeed a very dangerous journey. In 2016 alone, 4,900 people died while crossing the Mediterranean Sea to enter Europe. Many were Nigerians. For the very few who survived the journey, they are forced into prostitution or other crimes just to survive. Eventually, they will be arrested and deported to Nigeria. Don't be a victim. Don't go this way.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
If you are just joining us, you are on to Good Morning Nigeria, where the focus centers on the Rapid Result Initiative, a revolutionary health program of the federal government. And we have the Minister of Health still in the studio, Professor Isaac Adewale. Well, we're joined now in this conversation by the National President, Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Mike Ozowehe Ogirima. It's our pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you.
And we also have the Chief Medical Director of the National Hospital Abuja, Dr. Jaff Momo. It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Claire, I think we need to start. Go back to
I'd like to welcome you to this conversation, and of course, Professor Mike Ozovehe. I'd like to get your names correct. Ozovehe.
Ozovehe, you're right.
Ozovehe Ogirima. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay. Honorable Minister, let's again start off with you. You were eager to take some of the questions, the tweets that have come in. How does government determine this category of Nigerians? You want to begin with that?
The initial plan actually is to take on the poorest of the poor. And that's not too difficult. Nigerians are proud people. Nobody who is poor, who is not poor, will say I'm poor. Very unlikely. And that's why we said, let's start with 10,000. And that's for the surgeries. Because in any case, not all Nigerians have surgical problems. But then, as we fill the quota, we would need to work with the Office of the Vice President that is handling the social investment program. They have a register of poor people. Right. We are not there yet. When the quota is exhausted and we really now have to be competitive, then we look at the register. For now, we even want Nigerians to benefit. Okay. As I've said, we plan to do 10. We are just under 3. So there's still plenty of room for Nigerians who want to benefit. But when we are tight, we will go to the register.
Okay, one other issue raised through the tweet is how does the Rapid Result Initiative key into the implementation of the national health policy at the federal and state levels? Is the RRI a project of the minister?
Well, the RRI is a project of the minister, the ministry, under the guidance of Mr. President. But simply is a way to put practicality to the national health policy and to the intention of the president. As I told you, the party said we will bring relief, we will bring succor to Nigerian people. How do you do that? The only way to do that is to look at quick things, high impact, that we can do that will put life to the health of Nigerians.
Okay, let me quickly bring in, of course, our other guests here. Let me start with Professor Michael Girima, who is, of course, the president of the Nigerian Medical Association. Professor Girima, do we have, by we, I mean Nigerians, have an understanding of this, high result-yielding strategy?
Well, thank you for that question. For us, Nigerians are not truly aware now, and that's why we need a lot of advocacy and media, presence, so that the information can go down to the villages at ward level, and people who should have access to these primary health care centers.
Okay, still with you, because we want to look, to what extent do you think the Rapid Result Initiative can impact Nigeria's health system?
To a small extent, because we must admit it's like an ad hoc program that has been brought in by the government to solve, as the name implies, rapid, results, to get a rapid result. We are saying that, good, the program is good, but the system must be sustained in such a way that a lot of Nigerians, not just the poor of the poorest, but every Nigerian should have access to efficient healthcare system.
All right, thanks, Prof. Let's come back to Dr. Jafar Momo. National Hospital is one of the implementing hospitals, and the minister has spoken very highly of what you've done so far. So tell us in picture terms, in tangible terms, has the result really been as rapid as the name suggests?
Absolutely. I will tell you that the National Hospital, when we kicked off this initiative, our first step was to go to the community. We didn't wait for them to come to us. We actually went to community leaders. We went to community leaders in Abuja, in Buhari Area Council, and in Kuje, and who brought out people they felt have been at home for a long time, who had need for surgical intervention. So we recruited, after screening about 400 patients, or potential patients, we recruited 197. And out of these 197, 72 met the social stratification to qualify as being the poorest of the poor. As given to us by the ministry, there are some criteria to qualify. And out of these 72, we have already operated 64. So we have spilled over about 8-9 patients to this year. We are going to do what we have done in order to make sure the result is rapid, is because we don't want to disrupt our routine services. Since National Hospital is running as usual, we have dedicated Saturdays. So every consecutive Saturday, we have surgery session, and we have teams that run these surgeries. And we have done surgeries ranging from simple herniorrhaphy to very complicated surgeries of cleft lip and cleft palate, sometimes combined cleft lip and palate. So the results are there to see. We invited the press a few weeks ago, and they were there on a Saturday.
Do you have designated personnel, attending to this category of, patients? So are you still using the same resources that you're using to service the generality of Nigerians?
Yes, we are using the same resources. We didn't recruit specific personnel. We identified specialists because we know we're going to get highly specialized cases, because we also wrote to all the general hospitals in the FCT to refer cases of indigent patients needing specialist surgery. So we recruited our own staff to participate in this program, and by telling them that this is a change agenda and that we should all contribute to this, and dedicating Saturdays. So we didn't disrupt their routine work and their routine patients. So we did the surgeries on a Saturday. We went for the outreach also on Saturdays. Okay. So every Saturday or so, we operate from about 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m.
Thank you, Dr. Momo. Let's go to the Minister of Health. I have little concern with regards to the manpower at the public health centers in the rural areas to meet the demand of the level of operations, looking at what you've mentioned across board. For the teaching and tertiary institutions, they could have the right manpower. But where in the PSCs we have nurses, dominantly, and with little medical force, how do you intend to function in that area?
Well, the PSCs are not meant to do surgeries of this nature. That's not their responsibility.
So how do you carry it to the rural area?
That's where we need a referral system. The referral system will enable nurses, midwives, community health extension workers to identify these cases and say, these cases are not for us, go to the general hospital or state hospital. If it cannot be done at the state hospital, they go to the teaching or federal medical center. We need to build a referral system, reactivate them. And that's what they are for. At the PAC level, we expect them to manage simple complaints, malaria, be able to diagnose TB the way we're moving. We want them to be able to diagnose HIV. We want them to be able to manage pregnancy. We want them to be able to administer vaccines for vaccines preventable illnesses to our children. These are simple things, which actually constitute about 70% of the health body. And when we tackle that at that level, then we can free the states, the general hospital and the teaching hospital to really handle the complex cases that Dr. Momo is talking about.
All right, let's go to Professor Ogirima, because, we're talking about an initiative that is meant to meet the health needs of Nigerians. And we know the level of health tourism that is evident in the Nigerian nation today. To what extent do you think this initiative will, to an extent, address this challenge?
Again, to a very little extent, because the percentage of the population still patronizing medical tourism is quite high. The facilities are there in the country, but they are not up to date. And we call on the government to update the facilities in our health centers. What I mean by health centers, the tertiary health centers, so that medical tourism can be reduced. A lot of medical personnel, doctors inclusive, are not employed, yet vacancies exist. But if we employ hands in the tertiary health centers, a lot of consultants are there, equipments are updated, medical tourism can be reversed. Because if Nigerians are aware that facilities exist in all our tertiary centers that can take care of their ailments, why don't they patronize them instead of going outside the country?
Okay, Professor Girima, just before, I know the minister would also like to say a word or two about that, but again, let me amplify one of the tweets that came in, and the tweet is asking about the, relationship between the RRI and the National Health Policy. And we do have a robust National Health Policy, which is all-inclusive and addresses all, all the health, probably all the health needs of this great country. So do you think that at this point in time, that the RRI is, what we need in implementing the nation's healthcare, needs?
RRI is part of the National Health Policy, which derives from the National Health Act. But there are so many provisions of the Act that are yet to be implemented. And once those provisions are implemented, it will boost the RRI program.
I think the minister needs to come in here because we're talking about, we've talked on one side, impact on health tourism, and now we're talking about the National Health Policy. We don't want to look at these two issues?
Well, to really put things in the correct perspective, we've had 3 national health policy documents in this country since independence. We had one in 1988, one in 2004. We are working on the 3rd one. And it's been approved by the National Council on Health precisely on September 8. And we are getting it ready to submit to FEC anytime from now. And that policy will drive everything we want to do. It will also put life to the National Health Act, which the president of the NME mentioned. In addition to that, we must separate RRI from the policy. The RRI is only an instrument for delivering health. It is not the policy itself. So it will really help us to implement the policy. But then we will learn a lot of lessons through the RRI that will inform us as we roll out on a nationwide level how to really bring health to the doorstep of every Nigerian. So there are lessons for us to learn from the RRI.
Okay, let me again go back to Dr. Jafaro. You talked about screening, from the number of people at the community level who came out, to, of course, access the care, and you screen. What criteria did you use, to screen? Because that's one of the questions, again, that have come up. How do people get to know who is,
qualified?
Yes, qualified to access this care.
The first thing was to go to the community leaders and say, look, this program is for the poor. Of course, the community leaders know who is poor in their environment. But then we have a drawn-out social stratification criteria by the Ministry of Health. And we went with social health workers who used this questionnaire to recruit these patients. And of course, doctors then saw and identified who needed surgery and who didn't need surgery. And some of them are basic and simple, as the minister has said, as to what kind of job do you do. And because we were at the community level, we were able to confirm those things. We went down, but it doesn't mean you cannot walk in. We have had a few patients who walked in. We have had a few patients who were referred. And also what we do is to try to put this questionnaire to you and to try to find out in details your employment status, your social status, are you educated, what do you have for a living, is your husband doing anything, are you doing anything? And some of them, they brought their children. For instance, the cleft lip and cleft palate, the one the minister visited in the hospital, the husband was a petty trader, and she brought in this child. She's doing nothing. And the minister even went further to donate 50,000 naira.
We have some clips there. Are those part of the surgeries?
Yes, those are part of the surgeries that we have done. Those are the cleft lip and cleft palate clips. And if you can put them on, it should show clearly the before and the after. In one instance, we even found the child was malnourished. We had to bring up this child's nutritional status for about 3 weeks before we were able to operate the patient.
Beyond surgeries, what other services can people access under this RRI?
We are doing screening for cancer, for men for prostate cancer, for women for breast cancer. And in the case of women, we're able to identify 8 women that had lumps in their breast, and we have excised those lumps and we remove them for testing. And so far, we have not found anyone that was positive. If a result comes out to be positive, we then will initiate treatment for surgery, for cancer.
All right. Still talking about initiatives, knowing how health workers are involved, because you need them at all levels. Because if they raise their arms, so well, we are striking and we're not going to get it, it somehow will affect this very program. So what kind of collaboration, how much are you carrying them along in that direction to ensure that there is no disruption of this very unique program that is meant to impact, bring quick and visible impact in Nigerians' health demands? Prof.
Well, we are working directly through the heads of the various institutions. And I think what I've also discovered is the need to bring the medical association into the entire RRI operations, including nurses, pharmacists, so that we have everybody on board. I think these are some of the lessons we've learned over the last couple of months. And it will also enable us to know that this program is on. On Sunday, I actually hosted a medical group, and they told me, our hospital has not started implementing it. And it's a major teaching hospital in this country. And I said, this is unfortunate, because I called the 2IC for the hospital, and I said, why have you not accessed your money? Because they've actually not requested for the 15%. But you could notice that the health workforce in that facility is interested, because the RRI will also impact on residency training. When you have a high turnover of surgical cases, we're also building the skills of the trainees. So we believe that the RRI is a win-win for all of us. So it's not just that we're helping the poor, we are also creating an opportunity for residents to learn and see things being done properly. And that's why we need to have everybody on board. But with the NMA president in this studio today, I'm sure that we have a major really fish in the net.
That's why my next question will go to him, Professor Ogirima. Now, what is the opportunity cost of implementing this RRI on, of course, your men? And I ask this question because we don't want to find a situation where, time will come where, of course, you start making demands and all that. You know, you listen to what the Honorable Minister just said.
Yeah, thank you. All along, all the doctors involved in the program are under me, even the minister himself. He's a member of NMA. We are glad we have been involved ab initio during the stage of planning, the ministry, and even in the implementation at the field. Of course, our concern is that the indices being used are being abused by the populace. Here you have somebody calling me online that, Mr. President, how can I, partake in the RRI, program? And I said, from the beginning, for you to call me, you are not poor. For you to have a GSM and call that you want to be treated under RRI. So better make use of the routine services available and leave the poor of the poorest to access this service. We are involved, and we'll make sure it works.
I asked that because of the capacity of your men. Now, this is an added responsibility, and of course, it's going to make a lot of demands, on your personnel. So we hope that this will not be a reason for, embarking on a strike in the near future.
No, it cannot be a reason. But the stress on extending the services beyond the working hour, the government has to look into the welfare of all the health workers involved in the program. Okay. Having services on Saturdays, is an extension of the normal schedule of the health workers.
Okay, Dr. Momo, let's try to look at your experience, implementing this program in the last 6 or more months. What are the unique issues? What are the unique challenges that you've been encountering in the course of it? And what do you think needs to be done to ensure that we're able to arrest that?
One of the problems is that some people did not understand the nature of this intervention. They thought it's for everybody. So we had to separate those who are really poor from those we knew could afford it. And we even told those who are, look, we can give you discount on the routine cost. And the second problem is finding people who are really poor to the extent that they could not afford transport money from Kuje to National Hospital. It is that extreme. And like I said, in one case, we had to give nutritional supplements for 3 weeks to the child to bring up the nutritional status of the patient. That's how poor that family was. The child was malnourished, and yet he had cleft lip and cleft palate that needed surgery. So we brought up the nutritional status and prepared this child for surgery before that child was able to have surgery. These are some of the things we didn't envisage, having to support people with transport money to come to the hospital and also give them additional incentives, like the minister donated 50,000 naira to that patient I was describing.
Okay, we've got another set of tweets that have come in, and we'll quickly take them. And this one is coming in from Ortega. And Ortega says, according to the primary health care centers in Nigeria, attention is a good development, but the federal government should monitor and make a rapid improvement in the sector.
And from Shehu Adegbo, he says, it's absurd and disappointing to hear that only 20% of the 30,000 PHCs are working. What is the way out?
And my next tweet is coming from Mobilize Badge Stream 2, and it says, beautiful as it may seem, I don't think it's sustainable. What are plans to sustain the program? The question of sustainability, again, Honorable Minister, keeps creeping in.
Then from Ibrahim Todo, he's saying that the Rapid Result Initiative is a good program, but the method of deployment of information to beneficiaries is certainly not the Twitter. or the Facebook.
And Joe Olaiton tweets, thank you, Honorable Minister, for the initiative. But for this program to be effective, you need to be sincere and transparent. We need FMC in Osun State, sir.
And also from Ibrahim Todo, he says, Honorable Minister, malaria is ravaging people. Rapid response to malaria is highly needed urgently to save lives of women, men, and children.
And Monday Mordecai tweets, Prof, people cannot afford the cost of going to teaching hospitals. At UCH, every visit costs at least 1,800 naira. That is if you have no scan or other tests.
I'm from Adewale Aderinto. It says, what a disincentive for the resources to be used. Rapid Result Initiative will go a long way to solving health issues in the nation if it is given sustainable measures.
Okay, and Shitusani tweets. Shitusani tweets, this is a good initiative, but federal government should try and let us have some kind of accessibility card for means of identification in case of denial.
Akani Court says, to me, he says, well, what is the strategic plan to sustain this RRI? Or will it just die after 3 months?
And Adeomi Jamilat tweets, what a good program, mainly that will benefit the poor. But please, Minister, help us look into Kwara State. Practically, we are far behind, please.
And Precious D says, the word rapid result, is it not a word to deceive Nigerians? Nigerians are suffering. We need a working strategy that will work for us.
And David Mike Turungwa tweets, just one functional radiotherapy machine in a country of 180 million people. Every cancer patient comes to National Hospital. Why? And this is directed to the Honorable Minister.
And from Aminu Deba, he said, I must commend the federal government for this wonderful initiative. I hope it will be sustained. It comes again.
And finally, Aminu Deba tweets, I must commend the federal government for this wonderful initiative. I hope, again, Honorable Minister, it will be sustained. So maybe you need to harp on this issue of sustainability.
What is sustainability plan?
I quite agree that sustainability is key, and it is very important. You rightly mentioned that we had intervention in PSCs in the past, but we could not sustain them. So we said about 30,000 PSCs in the country, only 20,000 are working. They're all related to sustainability. And that's why it's important that we need to work with federal, we need to work with the state and local government.
How much involvement has the states and local governments been?
So that's because we're talking about health generally. Part of the RRI is to say, look, can we really conduct a pilot for PhD revitalization? Well, that is the RRI component of this. As we learn our lessons, some of them will survive, some of them will do well. The one we are trying to copy in Ibadan was established by a private foundation. The Kolada is a foundation. Ward 3 of Ibadan North local government. Chief Kolada IC gives 200,000 every quarter to this PSC. In 5 years, that PSC has saved 21 million in the kitty, and they've registered 18,000. So in an urban center, a PSC can survive. And not every PSC will need federal government support. We are doing the same for the municipal areas. Many wealthy Nigerians, you, I, him, can support a PSC. Our experiment has shown that between 3 and 5 million, we can revitalize the PSC. And keep it going, working with the community. The important thing is to allow the community to own the PSC and weave a mutual health association around the PSC. At one of the PSCs, I walked in and I said, I want services to be free. The community leader said, Honorable Minister, let us meet and decide on how much to charge, even if it's a small fee, because some people can afford it. Those who can afford it will excuse them. And that is the type of community ownership that we must really support to sustain the initiative. Okay,
Honorable Minister, let me bring in Dr. Jafaro Momo here. Ordinarily, this is an initiative that should act like a polling green to the state and local government. But it appears that they're just watching.
Well, in our own experience, they are not just watching. What we have seen is that we're getting referrals from the FCT hospitals. The community leaders at the local governments are also referring patients to us, sometimes following the patients with leaders to escort them to the hospital and stay with them for the duration of their stay in the hospital. So they are participating one way or the other. They are providing small transport money to make sure that they are able to go to the hospital. So I think if we continue to carry them along, they will participate. But like the Honorable Minister has said, maybe at the state level, at the local government level, there need to be more commitments by some officers who are responsible for health at that level.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Momo. Let's go to Professor Mike Ogirima. You are the national president of Nigerian Medical Association. And there is this tweet here saying that we'll have just one functional radiotherapy machine in a country of about 170, 180 million people. How true is this, given the feedback from medical doctors across the nation?
Well, about 3 months ago, we had none. So if one is functioning now, that is an improvement. But let me quickly add that the problem we are having with all this equipment is that we are not charging, sustainable costing of the services we render. If government should put in the legislative backing, each service should be costed well to recover at least the fund. We don't have backups of this equipment. And once we don't have backups, then at any time one breaks down, then it takes another 6 months for replacement or even the repair of the equipment. So we need to sustainably cost our services so that if you cost it, government should not just say there is subsidy and you offer a service that should cost ordinarily maybe 100 naira and you say it's 50 naira. Who pays the subsidy? Who pays the balance? And that's why perpetually our equipment are breaking down and we can't replace them.
Okay, I think the minister, you will take this along with you.
Yes.
The issue of radiotherapy machine just being one across the nation, and the polio issue.
That is actually not correct. We did a study a few years back where we estimated that Nigeria would need at least one radiotherapy machine per 1 million people. So that means this country will require about 180 of the machines. There are 7 across the country. But the real problem, as rightly mentioned by the president of the NMA, is that the leadership of the facilities have a poor disposition. Oh, the people cannot afford it. We need to treat them free of charge. And when the machines broke down, we had no mechanism to keep them alive and to replace them. What we're trying to do now is to do things differently. We've done a survey. We're talking to the manufacturers of the 2 equipments. And in our 2017 approval submission, we want to make sure that at least across the country, we have 7 of these centers brought back to life. Each center should have at least 2 machines, so that even when one breaks down, the other one is ready to keep going. National Hospital is also to be supported by private organizations. So it's not just National Hospital.
How soon are we getting that?
National Hospital will go back to life anytime from now. I got a feedback from Sokoto. Sokoto machine is working. Part of the partnership, as soon as the 2017 budget is approved, we will kickstart. We are already talking to them. We have everything ready. We will work on the remaining centers. But I can tell you that Sokoto is working as of today. National Hospital, they are working to install an equipment that had been in the crate for 3 years. It's when we came on board, we said this machine must be installed. So that's part of what we face.
Okay, Honourable Minister, this is the last question, and please, I'll crave your indulgence to be very brief with the response. Okay. We're discussing RRI, but it's also very critical that you speak to the issue that we both discussed just before we came on set, the concern over, a reported case of polio. Then you might want to tell us what the true situation is.
The polio in Borno State, or
the one in
the reported case?
Oh, the reported case. Yes. That wasn't polio. I think it's I actually, when it was reported on Channel, I called some of our friends in Channel and I said, this is not the way to treat polio. When you look at that food, that's not polio. That's a club food. That child, you see, the president of NM is an orthopedic surgeon. When you look at a polio leg, polio does not affect the bone. It affects the muscle and the nervous system. So you have wasting of the muscles, but the foot is not deformed. In that particular child, the foot is big. You look at the leg, plumpy, but then twisted. That's the club foot. That child will benefit from RRI.
Okay, so what's the true situation as regards polio, the national situation?
We do not have polio outside the security challenged area. And so we've detected 4 cases in security challenged area among children that had no access to immunization program for several years. We mounted 6 rounds of response. We immunized over 41 million children in 18 states of the country, and we've been commended by international organizations. We are quite on top of the polio situation in Nigeria.
All right, Honorable Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, we'd like to thank you very much for finding time to speak more on the issue of RRI, and we do hope that the public will be better informed after today. We'd like to thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
We also like to thank the Chief Medical Director of the National Hospital Abuja, Dr. Jafar Momo. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then last but certainly not the least, the National President of the Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Mike Ozovehe Ugrima. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is Good Morning Nigeria. Cliff,
yes,
we're going on to football.
Let's get the letters, from the world of sports. And the stage is set, and another king of African football will be installed tonight at the CAF Awards 2016. And here is Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. The battle is among the winner of last edition, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I think I called it well, Aubameyang. Nabayang, okay. So, and of course, the BBC African Footballer of the Year 2016 award winner, Riyad Mahrez, and Liverpool's Sadio Mane, who will be the next king. Let's see their chances in this market by Salihu Abdullahi.